So for some reason I can't teach any classes here, so in the school. So I'll try to do this if there's any interest. Okay. So what I'd like to share is a sort of like an entire system that I have, and how what are the starting points and stuff like that. Okay. So I have a framework. Okay. That also serves as a feedback system. Okay, so to me, in order to have a good approach, right, we need to say, okay, here's my framework, and here's how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to get some feedback from it. Okay, this is very similar to our hormonal system, or basically any system within our body, right? You detect something is not enough, it produces, and it senses it's quite enough, then it stops, right? So we need some kind of a framework that will address, in my opinion, all the issues that we see in the clinic. All the issues that I am experiencing on a daily basis, right? All my relationships, all my emotions, all my perspectives, all my sense of injustice or righteousness. Okay, so that's what I want. Okay, so I've been working on this for about ever since I started Chinese medicine school. So it's about basically 8 years. Okay, because when I'm learning, I don't want to learn things like, okay, if you see this, you do this. You see this, you do this. You see this, you do this. Right? It's all protocol based. Right? What if it doesn't work? Right? What if it works? Right? What if it doesn't work? Right? And we will have files after files or photos after photos in the clinic that basically says, does this thing really work? Right? When it doesn't work, what do we do? So we need a feedback system. We need a better understanding of why things work and why things don't work. So to me, that's very, very critical to me. Okay. Again, this is my framework. It can be yours if you find it useful. Okay. And when you practice this, it is your framework. This is not my framework, but I'm using it, right? So once we have a framework, ideally we have a set of guiding principles. This is where we want to go, okay? So let's say I'm a person, and this is the direction I want to go, right? And all these are subject to, real-time analysis, feedback loops, and stuff like that to say, okay, are these, will these continue to be my guiding principles or not? Right? The same thing with the framework. So this framework, when I first started 8 years ago, roughly, it wasn't close to this. But I have kind of a vision to say, I need a framework. I need to be able to explain why emotions affect person's health, for example. Where does liver qi stagnation come from? Okay? And why are we treating that way? Right? Stuff like that. Okay? So I'm going to go over this first. So the key is, I honestly feel like this is very, very key for us to learn Chinese medicine or anything that has traditions and there's, practitioners of 50 years or something like that, some kind of authority, okay? Please do not trust me, okay? Please analyze, be critical, and really, build something that's true to you. Okay, we can only practice something that's true to us with absolute sense of peace and harmony. Otherwise, we'll always have doubts. It's like, am I doing this right? The book says, or this is what I was taught, right? But what if it doesn't work? What do we do, right? Too many, in my opinion, too many practitioners operate in that way, and they have liver qi stagnation. They have issues, right, that they're not addressing. Okay. So that's kind of what I want to go through. Okay, so I'm going to introduce this. I'm going to introduce a few loops. I'm going to talk about channels in all the key points. Okay, some concept of cultivations, and lastly, I hope we can all achieve this to get some hands-on. Okay, so everything I do, I focus on the very, very beginning, the starting point. Okay, for example, how do we tui na? What does it mean by tui na? Okay. And to me, if I can hold a hand, with absolute balance and comfort for myself, right, I achieve what tui na means, right? So if I can even hold a hand, if anybody can hold a hand, with comfort, right, you achieve what's needed for tui na. And then all you do is to repeat the same feeling for every other things that you do. It's really that simple, right? But in my opinion, most of us, don't do train out or doesn't know how to do train out, or it's like, okay, I'm doing it, with a lot of sweat, but it's not going anywhere, right? And the person who received the train out doesn't really feel that good either. Why? There's a reason why, right? The reason is we're not focusing on the essence of train out, right? So I'd like to introduce that, right? Along with that, we need to sort of rearrange our posture a little bit, okay? Posture affects our balance, power, relaxation, okay? And we're going to scan our channels, okay? Channels are feelable. They're absolutely feelable, okay? We're going to talk about self-diagnosis, okay? If we have any condition, it's very important that we say, I have these conditions, I'm going to transform it. And I'm going through a certain amount of cultivation. I'm going to utilize fully my condition, okay? So we have first-hand experience. First-hand experience is so important to practice this art, because otherwise we can be replaced at any time. Okay, everything can be Googled, right? So, yeah. So, okay. So that's kind of what I would like to cover today. Okay. So, so the first thing I want to talk about is the framework. Okay. So for a long time, I want to come up with a model that will represent a person, okay, regardless of age, gender, cultural, race, religion, or anything like that. Okay, I want a model. Okay, so this is the model I have so far. Okay, so we all have inputs. Okay, so we have these 5 senses: ear, eye, nose, throat. Okay, and we have our body. Right, so the body is a receiver. So through the 5 senses, we're interacting with the outside stimulus. Okay? So every word I say, it gets into your system. Right? Everything I see right now actually gets into my system. Okay? So we have these 5 senses that interact with the outside world. So interact with the input stimulus essentially. Right? And then we have thoughts that I'll cover more later. Okay? But essentially we have these 6 things that will actually get into our brain system, gets into our functional brain system. Okay, so the 5 senses plus our existing perspective of the world, for example. Okay, that goes into our brain system. The first thing it reaches is the reptilian brain. Okay, reptilian brain based on a set of reflex database. Okay, some are born, some are trained. Okay, some that we can actually lose. Right? If I get old, or if I fall, if my posture is like this, my reflex is not going to be good. Right? So based on the set of reflex, we generate commands. Okay? So let's say if I'm driving, maintaining my boundary, right? The car next to me comes in a little bit closer. I will actually automatically do something. Right? I will actually evade the car without knowing it. We all have that experience, right? Or if I'm going to hit a tree, my reptilian brain will say, okay, raise your hand, cover your face, right? But if I don't do it and my face actually goes through the windshield, these 2 hands will never be right. These 2 hands will always be rigid, okay? What are the conditions, okay? Violence, okay? Violence can absolutely cause this, right? A sense of suppression, okay? People who were, sexually violently, applied, right, and they couldn't do anything about it, right? And you can feel this when you hold a person. You can feel this when you actually hold the hands of a person, okay? That there is a certain amount of rigidity. So in the clinic, what we do is we say, okay, the reptilian brain issues commands. The commands that are not executed properly due to anything is called pending. Pending reptilian brain commands. Okay? So there's a field called somatic therapy or something like that. Okay, that's essentially what they do. Okay, they're quite effective when treating trauma. They resolve trauma using somatic techniques and stuff like that. That's essentially try to get to the body to release those pending reptilian brain commands. Okay, in this clinic we do it a little bit differently. But the same concept, yes.
So you're saying the reptilian commands, are those the reflexes?
Yes.
Okay, so the reptilian commands are the reflexes. And if there was any trauma in our life, either in the birth process or post, and there was some reflex that wasn't
fully executed,
it could still be
in the system.
Pending.
Yes.
And that manifests how?
It manifests into rigidity, into a sense of control.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's like we want to do something, but I can't. Okay, I want to yell, I want to shout, I want to curse, but I can't.
So inhibition.
Inhibition. There's a lot of control of inhibition. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So if we feel strong inhibition, there's a decent chance that there's recruiting demand.
So that's why, to me, this model, this model that I use is really to say, okay, what's our life story? How did we get here? Okay. For cancer patients, we always do this. How do you get cancer in the first place, right? Why do you have depression? Why do you want to kill yourself? Okay, all these are very, very important things. Is we need to establish a life story first, right? It's not like, okay, we know how to treat Shen disturbance, okay, this and that. No, it doesn't work that way, right? So it's very, very important we do not just address the symptoms. We need to get to the bottom of this. Right? So this model is my attempt to say, okay, what is the functional model that generate all these tons and tons of issues, okay? So in this clinic, we do PTSD, we do cancer, we do a whole array of things, right? That doesn't seem to relate to each other, right? But to me, it's all come from the same model because we're all the same. Right? All right, so when they move up, it goes to the limbic brain. Limbic brain, based on triggers, a set of triggers, generate emotions, okay? So you might notice I start to sort of make this model like, okay, there's an input, right? And there's a functional part, right? Which everybody has to a certain degree, okay? I would say 99%. Some people are born without certain functions. Yeah, that's an issue, okay? It's very similar to, we all have an iPhone, right? These are the apps that generate the results. But the iPhone, in general, are all functional. Okay? Yeah. So the triggers, in my opinion, yeah, come on in. Yeah. Yeah. So you get a hot seat, okay?
Oh my gosh.
It is actually a hot seat.
Oh, like hot?
Yeah. That's my run one seat.
I like that.
Okay?
If you don't want it, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get too hot.
Yeah. So all the triggers, okay, so to me, I define trauma. So I define trauma as this, okay? Because trauma to different people are different, right? You can apply the same traumatic experience to different people and the results will be different, right? So to me, trauma actually install two things. It install triggers, okay? It also change a person's perspective. So to me, that's my definition of a trauma, okay? So it could be a simple word, okay? It could be experience. Let me share this story, which really illustrates what it means by trauma, okay? So I have this patient, and he's well versed in this, and he told me, it's like, John, you know what? All my life, I was told I was mean, I was distant, I was aloof, I just don't get along with people, right? Why, right? Then we backtrace, and turns out when he was young, like 6 or 7, okay? After summer, the teacher will ask, where did you guys go, right? Oh, Disneyland, whatever, right? And then all eyes were on him, right? And where did you go? I work in the farm all summer. Okay? And that was it. After that, he doesn't want to be in groups. He doesn't want to share information. He doesn't want to be in some kind of a celebration or some kind of I do this, I do that. No, he just walk away. Okay? He does not want to interact with people at a very, at a certain level. Okay? Why? He got a trigger to say, I can't compare with other people. Life is not fair. Okay? I don't want to have all the eyes on me, and I told everybody I work in the farm all summer, picking garlic. Okay? Is that a trauma? Absolutely. It affects his life. Right? It inhibits or prevents certain emotions. Right? There's a suppression and depression going on. Right? There's an anxiety going on. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Right? Every time he's with a group of people, right? It's like, okay, here we go again. Here we're going to be compared again, right? All these things come back.
What is PPG?
Okay, PPG, thanks for asking, okay? So all triggers are at least there are three properties, okay? They're protective, meaning the triggers are there for a good reason. They are not evil, okay? And they're persistent, meaning once the trigger is installed, it stays there until we do something about it, okay? So in this clinic, what we do is we transform these triggers so they do not affect us anymore, or they don't affect us in the same way anymore. Okay? And they're global means anything that fits the original event attribute will trigger the same emotions. For example, the guy is in a group of people, and people are asking a question, hey, how did you do? What's your profession? Right? And we go until him it's like, I'm not working now. Right? So there's a lot of these things, right? So protective, persistent, global. Okay. So what it generates is our emotions, right? So the emotion can be suppression, depression, sadness, hate, right? The sense of jealousy, the whole nine yards. Any emotions that you can come up with are generated based on triggers, and triggers are always true to us. Okay? So there's no positive, there's no negative emotions. The worst thing in this world right now is to say we need to have emotional intelligence. We need to manage our emotions, right? We need to behave certain ways. And guess what? That's liberty stagnation. We're not thriving. We're not true to ourselves. Okay? So in this clinic, once we understand this, to say, okay, all emotions are true based on the triggers, and the triggers are installed by this external force, right, in the form of, memorable or impactful events, right? And all we do, if we continue to suppress these emotions, we'll continue to suppress these triggers, and the triggers will get louder and louder and louder and louder. Okay, the triggers are like our most loyal guard dog. Okay? If I'm sitting here reading, and the dog is right here, right? Something goes on, the ear is going to perk up, right? And it's going to have this movement, or a very, very slow groan, or something. It's going to tell me something, okay? If I ignore this, okay, it's going to elevate the signal, right? It's going to continue to elevate. If I continue to say, just shut up, I'm reading, shut up, it's going to start to go wild. Or I can just go look and say, no worry, it's Uncle Bob. Yeah, just Uncle Bob. That's what we need to do, okay? We treat our emotions like if there is a barking of the dog, we couldn't stand it. I don't want to be angry, and then I end up super angry with myself. Okay, I don't want to be sad, then I get sadder. Okay, so this suppression of emotion, in my opinion, is it just manifests into so many things. Digestion issues, okay, sleeplessness, right? Liver qi stagnation, absolutely, right? All kinds of issues. Poor posture. Okay, it's all there. Why? Because we're not thriving. Okay, when we suppress our emotions, we are not thriving. We're not expressing ourselves. Okay, I'm not saying we should go ahead and just be angry with everybody. It's like I honor my anger. It's like, yes, I am angry at people. Why? Can I embrace my anger to say, what is this thing trying to protect me? Why do I have to throw stones or do whatever to get people to stay away from me, right? Then I feel when we start to honor our emotions and honor our triggers, we will start to say, you know what? Because I was hurt, I thought I was hurt. I run to my dad and do this, and he just goes, I'm busy. Okay? He shut me down. So we have a lot of these things, that express in the form of emotions, and honestly, these are in the subconscious. We have no control. We think we have control. We have absolutely no control. And suppressed emotions has to come out. That's why people have rage. You know, people drive on the street, drive on the highway, right? They get cut off, or they you know, somebody did something, and all of a sudden, I gotta teach this person a lesson, right? In the form of rage. That's suppressed anger. Okay? So the key really is this. Okay, so in this clinic, we talk about two primary emotions. Okay, anger and fear. Okay, anger and fear in combination protects our boundary. Okay, right now we're all sitting with anger. We're all sitting with fear. Can I demonstrate anger?
Okay.
Okay, all right. So this is how I demonstrate with anger. Okay, so I'm here. This is how you feel right now. Okay, if I come in. Can you feel inside of you? There's something, right?
Yeah.
That's how it works. This is why we walk on the busy street and we're not hitting each other. Okay, we are fully aware of the slightest cue. Like, okay, you're going that way, I'm going this way. Okay, we're not bumping into each other. Anger and fear get the highway system working because we are all anger. Fear is alertness. Okay, these are spectrums. You know, like the volume. Okay, when anger and fear are operating in the optimum level, okay, our boundary is beautiful. We can say no. You know, without feeling like I'm gonna hurt this person, or I'm not a nice person, or something. Okay, so in this, you know, in this clinic, okay, the people come in. This is especially true with cancer patients. Okay, so much suppression. You know, so much this mandate of being a nice person, okay, that they cannot say no, right? When anger is not there, the fear level is high. Yes. Please.
Do our Wei Qi fields interact when we're walking, when we move?
This is natural. This is automatic. We don't have to worry about it. When we are aligned properly. Most people do not walk with the proper Wei Qi because they're vigilant. When you're vigilant, this is not Wei Qi operating at the optimum. Wei Qi operates in the optimal state when our Du channel goes up, we're connected properly, right? And our UB channel automatically goes down. That's our Wei Qi. When we're hypervigilant, the UB stays in the head. Our body is actually in far more danger than anything else. Have you ever been on the highway and you say, I'm gonna stay away from that car?
Yeah.
Because that person is hypervigilant. Mm-hmm. That person does not have the proper Wei Qi. Does not have the proper, because it does this all the time. You know, it's driving in fear. Then the UB channel stays in the head instead of the full-on body. Very interesting, right?
So when you stay in fear, your urinary bladder channel doesn't
go down properly.
Doesn't go down properly to the.
Yes.
Which results in
higher level of adrenaline, right? Mm-hmm. So the first divergent channel, right? Everybody learned the first divergent channel. The UB goes to the kidney. Okay, if not, that's beautiful, okay? Because I want to explain this. Because you will understand this, okay? Yeah. So, the UB channel is supposed to go, right? Essentially from, basically, you know, it's like we're taking a shower, it goes all the way down, okay? Mm-hmm. UB channel, please, does not go down to here, and it comes back up, and it goes down, you know, something like that, okay? And the gallbladder channel does not go, okay? It's just a swap. It's a swap, okay? It's a river, okay? All channels are like rivers, okay? Oh my gosh. So the UB channel, okay, let's say I'm standing here and there's a dog come in, okay, it's gonna bite me, okay, I have to do something, right? The way we do this is the UB channel automatically goes, instead of down to the toes and join the kidney at kidney 1, it joins the kidney channel at the back of the knee to short circuit, okay, to have a higher strength, right? To come up, so the kidney channel come up. So in the Chinese text, it's actually to strike the heart. Okay. In modern terms, it actually strike the kidney, generate adrenaline.
So it short circuits at the calf,
at
at the knee,
Yeah, yeah,
UB40.
UB40,
yeah, somewhere there.
like the band.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. Other than that, the other then the channel goes wild. Okay. This is a definite. This one is very, very definite. Okay. The other ones, not so much. But in the clinic, when we can scan channel, then we can tell like there's a diversion or there's a counterflow or something like that. Yes. Okay. So in this clinic, what we do with the emotions is actually to honor them, honor all our emotions. Okay. So when people come in, a lot of people come in, they don't have anger, they don't know, they are so uncomfortable with anger. Okay. They don't have this boundary, but they're very, very, they want to have a good boundary, right? But they are also very, very fearful of having a boundary. Okay. So what we do in this clinic is to say, I honor my anger. Okay, I advise people to go in the car, shout, yell, curse at the top of their lung. I honor my anger. Because anger is a pure emotion. Okay, what we don't want, okay, is angry, which is anger plus judgment. Okay, we can say, stay away from me, or you idiot, stay away from me. Okay, it's very, very different. Okay, protect our boundary, right? And not without judgment is really the most beautiful. Honestly, it's a very beautiful way to live. Okay. All right. So again, emotions are to be honored and embraced. Okay. So how do we do this, right? So really it's like, this is how I'm feeling right now, and I'm going to be the most unbiased reporter in the world. To say, this is how I'm feeling right now, okay? Today is this day, temperature is about this much, and this and this, whatever we're perceiving, okay, just start writing, okay? Be the most unbiased reporter in the world about ourselves. And not say, that idiot triggered me, that's why I'm having this emotion. No, we're going to get stuck in a loop. We're going to continue our sense of injustice, right? But it's like, okay, this person actually hit a trigger in me. Because if we don't have this trigger, that person's words or behavior is not going to affect us, right? The only reason we're being affected or we have this emotion is because I have this trigger already. So it's very, very interesting. So when we are on this journey and we practice this, right? At some point, if somebody is triggering me, for example, I'll actually be very grateful. It's like, man, you're good. Hang on, just say that one more time, okay? Please, right? Because you actually found another trigger because of your behavior, right? Very interesting. Okay, so moving up. Okay, so in Western science we do have a reptilian brain, we do have limbic brain, then we have the frontal cortex, right? We do have the concept of the brain plasticity, right? Meaning that the brain can evolve, change, and right? So to me, this is where the plasticity comes in. This can be changed. This can be transformed. Sometimes, like in a split second. That's what epiphany is. Okay? It's like I'm so burdened with this and this and this and this, and all of a sudden there's no burden. What's going on? Nothing changed but inside. The connection changed. Okay? So then it goes to the midbrain. The midbrain, in my opinion, doesn't have a database. Okay, all these databases are based on past experience, based on our past, or accumulated from the past. Okay, triggers are accumulated from the past event. Right, knowledge is accumulated from the past experience. Right, culture, education, whatever. Okay, the midbrain connects to our heart, which is now. Which is this moment. The midbrain doesn't predict or judge based on the past. Okay. So if you say something to a person who operates purely on midbrain, purely based on the heart, and you say, oh, the wolf is coming. Ha 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 ha, he's being fooled again. You can do this 10,000 times and he will still go look. As opposed to the other person who operates on judgment and emotion, is like after the third time, I'm not gonna look. You are, you're just a rascal. And the wolf did come.
So like an Alzheimer's patient would experience that same adrenaline each time.
Yeah. Or dementia, right?
Dementia.
So when we don't have this, right, there's no past. It's actually very interesting. Okay, so my mom, she doesn't have that symptom now. For a period of time, she actually have dementia. Okay, and it's actually due to years of. It's actually I actually learned a lot from my mom because of her conditions. So I learned because she had years and years of headache. Okay, there's actually like a band. Okay, I'm not kidding. It's like a little rope goes between her 2 ears. Okay, like right here. Okay, and so I did a lot of work on that, and then finally I said, Mom, I know you don't like needles, but I'm gonna needle you. Okay, I know you're gonna, So I needled her, and she was like walking around with that for like 2 hours, and then headache is gone. The dementia symptoms are basically, clear up within a few days. But when she was having those, to me, she was very happy.
Having what?
Happy.
Having when she was
Dementia.
Oh yeah.
It's a disconnection from all her worries and it's just like, wow, that is actually, it seems to be. So to me, it's like, okay, the real issue with dementia and Alzheimer is the people around us.
That's true. Yeah, it's not the patient.
Right. It's not just the patient is, himself or herself has very little suffering.
As long as we don't impose our stuff.
Beautiful, right?
And take care of them. And
yes.
The other thing is they're at high risk for.
And it's very interesting, in my opinion, right? Because my mom went through that, right? And honestly, what I did was I actually say, okay, what can I learn from this? Okay, I'm not seeing her. So it's actually very interesting. It's similar to my own condition. Okay, I have, reverse curvature necks, and I have, several times I couldn't walk, and I have injuries and I have issues. But I learn from these things, right? I try to understand why. When I was 50, I couldn't go up and down stairs, right? But now I'm okay, right? Why? Right? So I'm going to share with you that, okay? The key thing is actually posture. Okay, so the midbrain doesn't, there's no history, right? So our heart is always golden. The heart cannot be broken. Okay, so this is one of my guiding principles, okay? And this is actually shared by all the enlightened people. They say, we're always good, okay? So there's two concepts, okay? One is heal, and the other one is a reveal, okay? So most of what we learn in school is to heal something, right? Somebody come in with something, and we do this, and somehow it will heal. I'm far more interested in this clinic to reveal our heart goal. Okay? Because to me, that's because the only guarantee I have is whoever sees me is going to die at some point. Okay, it's a guarantee. But the question is, can we use that opportunity, right? People come in because they have a condition. Can we use that opportunity to transform, to say, you know what, you have a heart goal. I have people coming in, okay, didn't know who this one guy, he didn't know who his dad was. His mom didn't know, okay. So when he was young, there were plenty of men coming into the house, right, abuse him sexually and violently, okay. When he grew up, he did basically the same thing, okay. He was on drugs and then, the whole 9 yards, okay. He came in and said, and told me this, and said, do I have a chance? I said, yeah, absolutely, because you have a heart of gold. He actually burst out crying. Okay? This is the key, in my opinion. Okay? This is my guiding principle. This is what I want to achieve. Okay? And this is how I want my kids to be. Not just my, I do see my patients as my parents, but I do want everybody to feel or sense that, I have a heart of gold, and my parents have one too. And I can connect to them anytime I want. then we will not have liver qi stagnation. Then we'll be thriving. Our ren channel and our du channel will be flowing beautifully, vibrantly. Okay? So this is our midbrain. And in my opinion, the midbrain sits in between our conscious and subconscious. Okay? So conscious brain capacity, people have various estimation and stuff like that. Some, it's probably around 5%. And subconscious is 95. Okay? And if we can count the things that the subconscious is doing, okay, it's mind-boggling. Okay, we're all sitting here, right? But there's so much going on within our body, so much, right? It's all handled by our subconscious mind. Okay, so is our monitoring of the environment. Okay, so I'm talking here. If you hear something like that, no matter how light, you're gonna pay attention to it. People living along the railroad, right? If you go like this, they wake up, but not the train. Okay? So we have these protections, it's always active. Okay? Let me talk a little bit more about triggers. We have conflicting triggers within us. Okay? All the time. We're fearful of intimacy, but at the same time, we want intimacy. A lot of relationships, I really have people come in and say, you know what, I think it's me, after 8 or 9 relationships, I think it's me. Because they get close and then they have chaos. They get close and they have chaos. Right? Eventually, she said, I think it's me. Because I don't trust people. And I say, you're absolutely right. You have a trigger, you have a set of triggers that want to have intimacy. You want to have good relationship. We all want unconditional love. That's a guarantee, okay? But we also do not trust unconditional love. We think all loves are conditional because we all have experience to say, you know what? That's not true, okay? If you play piano well, you get ice cream. Otherwise, you get a beating, okay? So we all have conflicting triggers. So part of this, in my opinion, okay, and can this be the cause of cancer? Absolutely. Breast cancer, 50% are here. This is exactly where liver qi stagnation deficiency is. Okay? The liver channel is supposed to come up past our chest into our lung channel, right? Lung 1, lung 2 are right here. Okay. Honestly, Chinese medicine, in my opinion, okay, when we really practice what channel really means, we will make a huge difference in this world. Okay? But if we continue to use protocols, okay, this point does this, that point does this combination does this symptom needs this, and I guarantee you, Chinese medicine will go down the drain because it does not. It just means we don't understand how channel works. So we resort to all these magical points. For example, liver 3. Okay. It's probably the worst point that we can use in this world. And I'll explain that later. Okay. So then it goes to our left and right brain based on culture, based on knowledge, based on what we learned, right? We generate judgment, and then so all these results in combination change our channels. It modifies our channels. Okay. If I feel injustice, it changes my channel. Righteousness, this is how righteousness works. Okay, let me explain righteousness first. Okay, righteousness affects our heart. When we are righteous, we cannot be kind. When my heart is energized, I am kind. Okay, and where does heart energy comes from? Heart energy comes from spleen. Right, spleen, heart, and then small intestine. Okay, so spleen channel has to come up, right? But the heart says, or pericardium actually, because we're righteous, right, to say stop. Cannot go in the heart. Because we're in the righteous mode. Okay? We need to be cold. Okay? We need to be able to say, I'm going to terminate my enemy. Right now. Righteousness is such a focused energy, it blocks everything else and to accomplish what it needs to accomplish, which is to do the right thing or to right the wrongs at any cost. Okay. It's a tremendous energy. Unfortunately, it's being used, to me, it's mostly used in a highly destructive way.
Which you mean like righteous indignation or self-righteousness?
Self-righteousness. To say, the other group does not have my belief, so that group is evil.
So they're wrong, I'm right.
Exactly.
Okay.
And in any conflict, both sides are righteous. In any war, any conflict. Okay. So in order to have this righteousness, right? By the way, to me, PTSD or veterans coming to the clinic, right? A lot of it is due to righteousness. That's their training. Their training is to be righteous, so they can go into a village and wipe out anything that has a heartbeat. That's the only way you can do this. Okay? And then they are expected to come home and say, "Boom, now I'm a kind person." It doesn't work that way. So what do they have? Digestion issues, elimination issues, right? They have gallbladder issues, liver issues. Why? Because when the spleen come up, okay, it has to pass, through here and energize our heart. It gets stopped right here. Okay? So imagine the spleen river, right, come up and hits a dam right here. There's a huge amount of floods right here. It floods into your stomach. It floods into your, basically entire digestion system, your liver, right, your gallbladder, right? It's all right here. Righteousness. Okay. This is how Chinese medicine can transform lives. Because if people come in, right, we just put a hand here, okay, grab their, pinky, ever so gently, right, and ask them to connect to loving kindness, and that's it. Just for the moment, just do this. Because when you're righteous, you're hurting nobody else but yourself. Okay. I honestly have quite a few patients change because of that. Because all I did was demonstrate, this is, when you're righteous, this is your channel. It's hurting you.
What's the righteous in Chinese?
Righteousness in Chinese,
非黑即白.
no, 得理不饶人.
Okay. Yeah.
得理不饶人. So in this clinic, what we advocate was actually this. Okay, so when we are right, be kind. Okay, so righteous people in general, they will say, "But I'm always right. What do you expect me to do?" Be kind. It's okay for you to be right. Okay? But please be kind. My gosh. Okay. All right. So from the channel standpoint, okay, so left and right brain is essentially gallbladder channel, okay, and UV channel to a certain degree. Okay. Our midbrain is essentially Ren channel and Du channel, predominantly Du channel. Okay, Du channel does not run the way we learn in school during the day. Okay. During the day, the Du channel essentially comes from Du1, okay, goes in between our skin and our spine, enters around here. Which point is that?
2016. Oh,
Do 8. I don't know.
no.
Something like that. Okay, somewhere here. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, and come out of the third eye. Energize our entire midbrain. It does not come up to the head. Okay, during the day, it does not come up to the head. Okay, these points are very important for tests. Okay, other than that,
216?
no.
And during the day, but at night it goes all the way over?
Yes, that's how we can sleep. Okay, but if we're so focused and the midbrain is still going, you can't sleep. Or the gallbladder channel are so dominant here, they do not go down, we can't sleep. Okay, so people cannot sleep. Okay, either they have some kind of epiphany, and they are so passionate about what they are doing, they can't sleep. Right? We all have these times, right? We're so energized, I don't need any sleep, okay, for like a week. Then we crash like a, or we're so worried about something, right? We're so fearful that, haven't heard from somebody for a long time. I'm so worried, right? Or something like that, right? Or we're so filled with injustice, right? So after the election, probably have a certain percentage of the country just couldn't sleep, right? Because it's not fair, okay? It's injustice, right? So all these things, gallbladder and UB, essentially. And how do we resolve this issue? Okay, can we just use needles and herbs and formulas, or this needs to change? Okay.
What was K again?
Knowledge. Okay? So past experience, culture, learning, and for example, there's this thing called evil qi. Chinese medicine is filled with these garbages. Okay, that's probably one of the biggest ones. There's no such thing as evil qi. The same thing as there's no such thing as positive or negative emotions. When we see emotions as positive or negative, we dive, we dig bigger holes, and we all suffer. Okay.
Okay, but how does changing knowledge
Perspective.
help you sleep?
Perspective. Okay, perspective. For example, so in Neijing, Neijing is one of the Chinese medicine Bible, I guess. Right? So in Neijing chapter 13, there's a phrase. Okay, so this is what Huangdi talked to Qibo. Okay, he said, I heard in ancient time, when a person is not well, all that's needed is to change perspective and change qi, and that's it. Okay? You don't need anything else. Oh,
We're switching.
switching. Oh, cool.
You got hot?
No, he was putting his jacket on.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So there's two words in Chinese called this. Okay. So that chapter is essentially shifting perspective. Okay. Change qi. Okay. Okay. So this is kind of what they say it's lost. It's a lost art. Okay. We don't know what it is now. Okay. It's attributed to like burning incense or writing like this and then burn it, and somehow you drink this powder after it burns, and somehow you're cured. Okay?
Oh, sleeplessness.
Or anything, any disease. Okay, so you go to a Taoist, you will write on a piece of paper and go like, okay, and then burn that paper, collect the whatever, right, and mix it with water and say, drink this. Some people say that's what it is. Okay. Some kind of a magical ceremony, and somehow you're cured. Okay. To me, that's not true. Okay. It's essentially a shifting a person's perspective, and all of a sudden, your channel changes. Okay. For example, how can we possibly change this? Okay. So in this clinic, we do have some suggestions. Okay. So one of the suggestions is this. Okay, we are all. So in Chinese idioms, there is a way to look down on a person. It's basically say, oh, you're just a frog in a deep well. Okay, you're limited to whatever you're seeing. Okay, it's a very derogative term. Okay, but to me, we all are frogs in the deep well. Okay? All of us are. Okay? There's no exception. Okay? We're sitting here, right? Well, we're all moving through the whatever, okay, at thousands of miles an hour. Right? The earth is rotating around the sun at thousands of miles an hour right now. It's rotating along its axis at thousands of miles an hour. But here we sit, right here, we think we're very, very, steady and balanced and everything.
But with a lot of stalking.
I like that voice. If I had that voice, I'd probably sound more authoritative. Okay. So does that answer your question, right? So when we change our perspective, we instantaneously change our channel. We for example, if I can say my truth, we all have our truth, right? So if I can say you're saying what you're saying because it's true to you, not because you're wrong. Remember, we all have our own triggers, right? We all have our own culture, right? All these things are changeable, right? So, so if I have this concept like, whatever you're expressing to me is true to you. Absolutely. But it does not change the fact that whatever I feel or express or believe right now is true to me. Okay? So it's not, I'm not trying to convince you, but I'm going to honor your truth. At the same time, I'm going to honor mine. Right? So all of a sudden, that person is not an idiot. Right? It's not immoral. It's not this or that, because when I hang on my truth, and I think my truth is the only truth, I'm going to go so way up and say, all you guys are just this and this and that. So we start to dehumanize other people.
Or ourselves. I mean, all of those things you described are
all comes back.
We can do just as easily to ourselves.
Right. But at the same, yeah, exactly. Right. So that's, to me, that's one of the perspective change, is to say, however I'm feeling right now is true to me. So anybody else's, and how can that be changed? It's internal. I cannot explain or force or something like that to other people, right? So from this, there's actually a concept to say help. You can't help another person, because all the changes that's relevant has to come from inside.
Okay, question. If you can shift your perspective and change your chi, then you should be able to change your chi and shift your perspective, correct?
Okay. Momentarily.
Momentarily.
Yes.
You can get a momentary perspective change, and if that is powerful enough to shift something, to prevent something, you could presumably, it could jumpstart you. It could help pull you out of
Yes.
this thing, right?
It doesn't change the trigger very well.
Not at all.
Okay. So the next time we get triggered and we have emotions, boom, we're going to restart.
Yes.
So I've done, I don't know if you guys heard this, like, I forgot the term, okay? So it's something like from South America. There's certain frogs that are poisonous, right? They scrape the skin, right? And they administer it to a person, okay? And what it does is it reset the person's channels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's actually a poison. So there are multiple ways to do this, right? So there's this frog, there's the bee's venom, right? There's this bucket, ice bucket. It's all achieving the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's reset the channel system. Okay, when a person's channels get reset, there's a lot of release. For example, emotional release.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, judgment release. So essentially, you release a lot of stuff. It's like, somebody comes to the house and empty all the, buckets that fill with water. And all of a sudden, everything is clean.
Or a house cleaner.
Yeah.
House cleaner comes in.
Exactly.
For
Beautiful.
30 minutes.
Yes.
The house is clean.
Right. So it's a release of whatever clutter or, accumulations, right? But none of these are changed.
No, all the
Right.
habits. Are
Ice
there.
bucket cannot change your triggers, right? So then we start to rebuild, right? So I literally have this lady. She had a divorce and she had one kid, and she was like, this is like there's a lot of issues with her ex, right? She came in and I scanned the channel. I said, "Oh my God, you're righteous, and you have this suppression because she had issues with her parents, and so she had liver cheese stagnation and she had righteousness." Okay, so she has both conditions. Then she went away and came back and said, "John, you know what? I did this." You can probably search it up, whatever what that term is. She did the frog thing.
She
right?
did.
Yes, and I scanned her channel. The channel basically are like quiet. It doesn't really move, right? 2 months later, it's exactly the same. Or the next time I saw her, it's exactly the same. Okay? So to me, if we're truly interested in transformation, so that's why I don't like to do release. Okay, emotional release to me is just empty this bucket, but never fix the leaking roof. Okay?
Right.
The same thing.
Well, coffee's kind of the same thing. Like you drink it because you didn't sleep enough, or it's a very temporary solution to a bigger
Yeah.
problem.
Another thing I like to caution all Chinese medicine people. Okay, so needles can sedate. Okay, so Chinese medicine has a lot of sedation technique. Okay, for example, liver 3 is the sedation. Okay, it removes the liver channels. It literally drain the liver qi. Okay, a lot of the formulas are draining formulas. Okay, you remove excess qi. Okay, let me talk about liver qi, liver channel, liver qi stagnation. Okay, liver qi stagnation is the liver is supposed to come up, okay, through our chest into the lung channel. Okay, when we do that, we thrive. Right, liver. That's what liver's supposed to do. Right, you block a tree from growing. Right, it's gonna find a way to grow. Right, that's what liver qi is. Okay, it's a thriving sense of energy. Okay, where am I going?
The liver qi stagnation is supposed to connect to the lung meridian.
Right, channel.
How you get liver cheese stagnation though?
Yes. How we get liver qi stagnation? I was trying to do something else.
Oh, the tree growing. It finds another way.
Well,
That's okay.
let me
The
come back to this,
sedation
okay?
and
Oh,
draining.
sedation.
Sedation, yes, thank you. Okay. So that's how liver qi stagnation is supposed to work. Okay, so it comes up through this, right? Then we're thriving. Okay, well, our life is not safe. Okay, so I literally have a couple people. There's one guy especially. Okay, he was kicked out by his own dad when he was 12 years old onto the street. Okay, locked the door. He never come back. Okay, eventually, so he grew up. He was an IT person. He's a workaholic. He's a workoutaholic. Okay, couldn't sleep at night. Okay, and he's always anxious. His wife actually had a panic attack. So I was treating his wife, and we become quite good friends. Okay, and one day he called me. He said, "John, you know what? I have panic attack. Okay, now I know what panic attack is. Okay, I know I'm always anxious, but now I have panic attack. Right? So I said, what did you do 2 weeks ago? Okay, and he said, 2 weeks? Oh, I found this CBD. Okay, this spray or whatever, right? Or tincture or whatever." And he said, "Oh gosh, I sleep so well through the night. I never ever experienced that." Right? I said, "That's why you have panic attack. Because in your knowledge, in your perspective, life is not safe. Okay? All your triggers are hypervigilance, and you sleep through the night. They're gonna have a revolt. Their job is to protect you. Life is not safe. We agreed on this, and we need to be hyper vigilant. We agreed on this, so that's why you couldn't sleep at night, or couldn't sleep soundly through the night. Right? He wakes up like the slightest noise. Right? And because you sleep so well through the night, what do? They jack up all your stress hormones. Right? I have one lady, 19 years old, supposed to do a psychology major in Hawaii. And one day, 5 a.m. in the morning, she mountain biked all by herself, and she fell, okay? And somehow she managed to get back to her dorm, right? And she was like, like very, very messed up or something like that. Her roommate is like, oh, try this, right? And she started to have sudden psychosis, okay? And then it was taken to the hospital, get into the psych ward, and was basically given psychotic drugs. Okay, her dad and her mom, for some reason, and it's very, very interesting how I get to meet people like that, went to Hawaii, flew her back, right? Somehow know that there's this weird person that you go see. They came and saw me. And I described precisely how that young girl felt. Okay? She had a life and death situation. So let's talk about channels, okay? So we know channels can run extremely well. Okay? That's the parasympathetic mode. Okay? And channels can go sympathetic mode, which is fight and flight. It's like when we don't feel safe. Right? So this is force divergent channel, or liberty stagnation, or righteousness, or there's a whole 9 yards about when our channels do not run well. So most of us are running. For example, right now I'm actually in sympathetic mode because I'm delivering a speech. Okay, I'm heightened. Right, my adrenaline is actually pumping. Right, my channels are not running in parasympathetic mode at all. Okay, I went to Chicago for 3 days. I was basically up, a lot of hours every day. Okay, very minimal eatings and everything else. I have absolutely no tiredness. Okay, no hunger for a good 3 days. When I got to the airport, went through the TSA checkout. Okay, and I walked to a nearest cafe or something like that. I sit down. I just, oh gosh, I can't even get my head up. Okay. Then I'm back to sympathetic mode, or I'm sorry, parasympathetic mode, where I can rest and heal, and I start to get so hungry. Okay. So honor all these modes. All these modes are important when they are necessary. Okay. What we see in the clinic, people are can't sleep, can't digest, and all that kind of good stuff is because they are in sympathetic mode. And they're in chronic sympathetic mode. Why? Because life is not safe. Or there's other reason. Or, I hate my parents, or I try to escape from them. Or I resist this, or I resist, or I don't want to be like my parents. All these can shape a person's channels, perspective, vigilance, and everything else. Okay. So what do we do? I'm going to talk about this first loop. Okay. So there's a mode called, okay, let me explain why that young girl or young lady went from a fall to psychosis, okay? When we are in the, okay, so we know fight and flight, right? So let's say I am a cat, I'm a mouse, and I'm being chased by a cat, okay? At first I run, I try to escape from danger. This is actually in the same chapter, okay? Neijing, chapter 13. Okay, shift perspective, change chi. Okay, they actually mentioned this 3 modes, 3 of the 4 modes. Okay, so this mode is the sympathetic mode in Chinese is called far away from death. Okay, far from death. Isn't that cool? That's essentially what sympathetic mode is: right? Fight or flight. You try to get as far away from death or danger as possible. Right? And there's another mode that you mentioned. It's called cling to life. Stay close to life. As long as you can, stay close to life. So we have a channel mode, isn't it? Channels are fascinating. Okay, you got to get that book by Janice Hadlock. Okay?
What is it?
The
Janice?
Tracking the Dragon. Okay, so I have that, $30 each. Okay, if you don't, you got to have it. Okay, that's the book that inspired me to go into Chinese medicine. Okay. So I'm a mouse. I'm being, I evade the cat. Right. I try to stay as far away from cat, which represents death, as far away from the cat as possible. But when I'm caught and the cat's claw perforated my skin, I actually go into a different mode called pause mode. Okay. In pulse mode, all my energy, so in Chinese medicine, Du channel is the reservoir of all channels, okay, which is correct, okay, because in pulse mode, all the channels goes into the Du channel. So in India, there's a sense called Kundalini energy, right? Kundalini, right? We actually don't want to practice Kundalini energy, okay, but knowing that there's a chance that we can actually have all our channel goes. So when we're dying, ideally all our channel goes into the Du channel, as if I'm being caught by a cat, okay? Because at that moment I cannot move. I need to stay rigid. My breathing, my heart rate, just a second ago was so fast. Now it has to all come down to nothing. So in the ER room, they call it the shock, right? Person's heart rate is down to 30, right? Blood pressure is down to nothing or something like that, right? Why? Because there's a huge blood loss for this person. So the bleeding needs to stop before the blood pressure can go up again, right? Imagine I'm a mouse, okay? My artery is severed by this cat, right? If my blood pressure is just as high as I'm running away from the cat, I'll be bleeding to death in no time. By going into the pause mode, I'm staying close to life as long as I possibly can. Okay, it's a tremendous mode, but it shows up in the clinic as something else. Okay, so let me finish this, and then we can go into a little bit deeper. Okay. So at that time, all my channels comes in, so I appear to be rigid. I have absolutely no pain. The cat can toss me against the wall, and I'm not going to respond. Why? Because there's no channel. No channel, no pain. Pain happens when the channel does not go through and there's a flood. There's access condition. Pain is an access condition. Okay. Chinese medicine, honestly, is actually very, very simple when we use these terms. Okay. Pain is an access condition. Okay. So what would the mouse do, right? So the mouse is rigid. Isn't that a beautiful protection? I mean, right? If the mouse is being eaten alive, it actually has no pain. So all the animals in Africa are basically eaten alive, okay? But because all their channels are going in there, so to me it's a benevolence of some kind of it is benevolent that way. Okay? But anyway, that's how we preserve our life, okay? So let's say if the cat is well fed, right? It just wants something to play with, right? And it left. Okay. So during the time of this pause mode, right? In the mouse, they're still monitoring. Okay. Is the cat still around? Can I smell the cat, feel the cat, sense the cat, right? See the cat? Is the cat still around? Is my external danger over? Okay, so it needs to get a confirmation on that first. So let's say the cat walks away, right? It cannot be felt or seen or smelled, okay? Then the mouse will actually ask the second question is, am I fit enough to come back to life? Okay? Is my head still on my body? Okay? Am I fit enough to come back to life? Okay? If that is an absolute yes, the mouse will actually do what the dogs out of water will do. It will shake, right? And it will move. The first few steps will be wobbly, and then it will just keep shaking. And you can actually, there's actually a video from Africa of a gazelle or something like that, right? It was caught by a lion, and the lion was bothered by some hyenas, and the lion go take care of the hyenas, and the thing just come up, and then just like, just run away. Okay. Very, very interesting. Okay.
What was the first? So the second question was, am I fit enough to come back to life? The
Yes.
first question was, is the danger still around?
That's right. So the environment first, right? Can I come back to life because the cat is not around, right? Imagine a mouse, right? It's just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna come back, right? And the cat is right there. It's not gonna do anything, right? So the next 3 steps. So there are 5 steps to get a person or a cat or an animal out of pause. Okay, so the first 2 questions, right? Is the environment fit? Am I fit? Right, and then it will actually turn on vagus nerve. Okay, by doing something like that. Okay, So the ear goes to the shoulder, left and right. Okay. So if you talk to an Indian person and say, is it okay? And say, oh, absolutely, right? That's actually turning on the vagus nerve. Okay. This is turning on the vagus nerve is right here. So by doing this, we're actually turning on the vagus nerve. Okay. And then, actually before this is actually deep breathing, okay? Loud, audible, that kind of breathing. Okay. A lot of people after surgery they go into the waiting room. That's how they come back to life. They actually go, and shake and everything else, right? And that's how you fully come back to life. Okay. So you will see people that comes in, okay, when they want to look at you, they have to turn their entire body. Their neck doesn't work. Okay, they have a huge amount of rigidity because their body cannot do this. Their spine doesn't work. Okay, they have life and death experience. Okay, these are all potential for pause conditions. Okay, because human can actually go into pause, not just based on the environment or the circumstances or the trauma, but also by our will, by our own will. Okay, people can actually look into the mirror and say, I do not want to feel this pain ever, ever, ever again. And the channel will actually listen to say, oh, that's what you want? Oh, boom, goes into a different mode. Very, very interesting. Okay.
But that doesn't solve the problem.
It solves the immediate problem. Right? If this person is being abused at home every night, this solves the immediate problem. Right?
Because the pain is going to continue, don't feel it.
That's right. Because this person, when this person received the exact same treatment, it's basically not in the body. Okay. Basically, like it's the same as the mouse being tossed around by the cat. It's just waiting for the cat to turn away, right, and to check if I'm still alive. Okay.
So it sounds like if you constantly berate yourself and you convince yourself that you're not healthy or you're not fit or you're not good enough or you're not,
you will achieve what you want.
You will put yourself into pause mode because you're answering the second question as,
no.
I mean,
the second, okay, going to the pause mode needs to be a very, very strong-minded person. Yeah, it's more than just I am a victim, life is not good, things are not fair, and no.
What mode? Okay, so this has to be like a organ shutdown.
This is really so this is another book by Dr. JJ. Okay, it's about Parkinson. Okay. So Parkinson has four ways to get to a Parkinson state, which all exhibit the same, like the channels are not flowing, rigidity. Okay, stomach channels start to go backwards and all that kind of good stuff. Okay. One of the reasons is they can self-command because they're so highly disciplined. Okay, they can actually command themselves to go into pause mode. Okay, so I had a few Parkinson patients, and one of them, he's actually a triathlete, very, very fit, very strong. Okay, and he said, I'm like God. And he went into that mode because his hero, which is his dad, right, choose somebody else over him. And after that, he doesn't want to feel that pain. So he actually went into that mode. So in pause mode, okay, the rigidity, right, but when a person, because we're people, right, animals cannot fake pause. Okay, human can say, I'm in pause, I feel no pain, but I'm still highly functional. In that state, this person is actually extremely strong. This is very, very interesting.
So that's a shot of adrenaline then, right?
It's actually override by something else called norepinephrine.
Oh, right.
Right. It's not dopamine-based movement, it's norepinephrine-based movement. So that's why you hear stories like, okay, the mom go into the fire, rescue the baby, move the piano, move the car, kick down the door, and it's like, what? Are you serious? Right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. But I think this is a very deep subject. So let me talk about liver cheese stagnation, because to me, if we can somehow, go through the school, graduate, get a license, right, and within this time really address if we have liver cheese stagnation, because liver cheese stagnation leads to, in my opinion, everything else, dampness, you name it, everything else, and we graduate and we get a license, I guarantee you, you will have endless amount of patience. And you're going to do it with such peace and harmony. You're going to enrich your life and have the potential, because you're a lighthouse, to change other people's lives. Right? So let's put liver cheese stagnation into perspective. So liver goes from our big toe, right? Essentially through our genital area, onto here, past our chest, has to go down to the thumb, join the lung channel. When we are depressed, suppressed, or we feel we can never ever live up to something, we have to shut down the liver channel to a certain degree, to varying degrees, but for some people it's a very, very hard shutdown. The mechanism is pericardium channel. So there's a gate. Essentially, we have many gates, channel gates in the body. So this is one of the gates. It says we're going to shut it down. It's not going through, because we need to achieve the sense of suppression. We cannot voice our voice. We have to appear small. There are occasions where this is tremendously useful, right? But when this is chronic, so let me give you one example. We all have this experience probably to a certain degree. My daughter went to kindergarten, after 2 years after her brother. She was so happy. When she came home, she was so angry, very, very upset. And I said, well, what's going on? I thought you liked school. I said, I was drawing, and the teacher said, it's time to read. She hasn't finished her drawing, but it's time to read. If she doesn't suppress, and she continues to thrive, she's a problem child. So a lot of the education, for better or for worse, I'm not saying we should abolish the education system. It's actually to say, okay, we suppress what we want to do. We listen to what's being, to what we need to do. Get in line. The question I want to present to you is, are we still in that state? Right? It's useful for us to live through a period of time in our life, but is it still valid? Can we thrive now rather than try to survive? So that to me is the real question for liver cheese stagnation. And that involves all our triggers, all the perspective, all the paradigms, everything we ever learned. And these are all changeable. All changeable. So I see liver cheese stagnation, and honestly, I conduct these cancer groups. So I have this 4-week cancer group. I'm gonna actually, starting from 2025, all my clinic will be basically 4-week based. So people will come in and just do a full 4 weeks. So when I was doing this, I was explaining this to cancer patients, right? And they go like, oh my gosh, that was it. I've been suppressing all my life. I've been trying to be the nicest person all my life. And to me, nobody is nice unless that person also is nice to himself or herself. Otherwise, by definition, you're not a nice person. You just appear to be nice to everybody else, but you're not nice to yourself, right? So knowing this is a time to be nice to ourselves. So that is really the, to me, that is the transformation. Okay, and I'm really hoping that everybody in this room, right, and I hope everybody everywhere, right, will actually start to do this, because we need to thrive. Okay, cancer patient comes in and say, "Oh, I've been a survivor for a number of years." I say, "Okay, this will be the very last time you use the word survivor. Never ever again use that word. That word basically lowers your REN channel, okay, depress your liver channel, depress your DO channel, okay. Your DO channel energizes your midbrain, which is the most powerful autoimmune system that you can ever have. Okay. Survivor is like something's gonna happen to me. I don't know when, I don't know where, and there's nothing I can do about it. Okay. So the key really is to say, how do we cultivate the sense that I have a purpose? I can connect to loving kindness. I can choose to love unconditionally because it's my choice. Get back our choice. Okay. So, so anytime we feel we have no choice, turn that around. It's like, do I really have no choice? People say, no, I can't. I have kids. I have mom. I'm a mom. Or I'm a dad. I have to do this. What choice do I have? You can be irresponsible, You can walk away. You can disappear. Absolutely. But if you're going to do it, it's your choice. When we don't have a choice, liver qi stagnation. It's very simple. When we feel we have no choice, what choice do I have? That one question just honestly, later on we're going to scan channels. Okay? I'm going to lay on the table and I'm going to imagine that I have absolutely no choice in this life. Okay? Try to feel my REN channel if you can feel it. Okay? And then I'll change and I will say, I have a purpose. I can choose to love or hate or whatever. Everything is my choice. And you feel how my channel runs. Very, very honestly, channel changes at the speed of perception, at the speed of our perspective, at the speed of our thought. Okay, channel do not change based on 4 seasons. If the dog starts chasing me, I'm not going to say, wait, let's wait until spring when my liver is thriving, then I'll run and you chase. Okay? Channel change right away, instantaneously. Okay? That's why we can watch movies. Okay? Watch horror movies or inspirational movies or whatever movies, sad movies, romantic movies. That's why. Okay, we're not going to watch and like hours or seasons later, oh, that was so funny. Okay? We change right away. Okay? If I say, everybody's channel changes. Instantaneous, it has to be, right? When I put my hands over, your channels are actually changing. It has to. Okay? Okay? So I think we'll address this. Dampness is basically the same, okay? So, liver qi stagnation, okay? So people talk about dampness, Chinese medicine, okay, in general, it's like dampness is the hardest thing to treat. To me, that's not the case. Why? Because when we understand liver qi stagnation, okay, liver qi stagnation is the shutdown of the pericardium channel, so the liver cannot go through. So most people have a tremendous amount of pain right here, PC1, okay? Liver qi stagnation, chronic liver qi stagnation, PC1, huge amount of pain, okay? And the body knows there's pain, but the mind doesn't, okay? So what does the body do? The shoulder comes in, right? We start to have this kind of a posture. When you have this kind of a posture, can you really breathe? Does your diaphragm work? When you breathe, does your diaphragm go up and down? No, not at all. Okay? And that is the key for dampness. Okay? Dampness are interstitial fluid or cells that get stuck. They have no way to come out. Okay? This is the area that we have the most exchange okay, of fat cells or whatever, okay, and interstitial fluids. They all leak from here, okay. So our lymphatic system, this is the most active lymphatic system area in the entire body, is right in the core, where our diaphragm has to go up and down, increase the pressure, decrease the pressure, increase the pressure, decrease the pressure all day long. People come in and say, oh, I have stage 4 kidney issues and stuff like that. I say, you gotta build this up. It's your breathing. Your diaphragm is not going up and down. Your inner pressure, you don't have this pump, okay? That's helping your blood pressure, right? Helping your lymphatic draining system, right? And your blood flow, all the good stuff, okay? So honestly, when I was going through school, right, and I was doing this, and I was doing Wing Chun, and people kind of know me, right? So when I walk around and that's before this online thing, right? So when I walk around the campus, people will go like, for example, they're in the cafeteria, in the student lounge eating, they will go like, because this to me is key. Okay? If we're not breathing well, forget about anything else. Okay? Nothing else will work. Breathing is the only thing we can change right away. Can't change. This is the only organ you can change right away. Can't change your heart, can't change your kidney, can't change your liver, can't change your spleen, right? Can't change your pancreas. You can improve your lung right now. And when your diaphragm start work, right, your lymph system start to go back online. Okay? This is beautiful, okay? So when you're doing this, your entire channels are completely different. Your realignment of your entire body basically signal to yourself you are thriving. When we're doing this, we're not thriving. Okay? So how do we do this, okay? So we're sitting down, and I understand this is not the best chair, okay? The key is to feel our sit bones, okay? To feel our 2 sit bones and put our entire body weight on the sit bones, okay, evenly. And then feel the sense that, okay, our room 1, our heart, right, and sort of the top of our head or the third eye if you want, right, just like they're aligned from our third. So this is my practice, okay. I will connect to my room 1, the slightest elevation, okay. It's not like a pull up, okay. Slightest, it's a thought process, okay. It's like, I have a room 1, and I connect to my room 1. Okay, I have a body. I want to be in my body. I do not want to dissociate from my body. Okay? From my heart, I have a purpose. I don't need to know what my purpose is. I have a purpose anytime, all the time, anywhere. I have a purpose. So in the clinic, when cancer patients come in and say, you know what, I'll have a purpose when I get well. I said, no, you have a purpose right now. Okay, you got to embrace your entire being right now, because otherwise your channels are not running the optimal. Cancer actually requires 2 things. Okay, the mutated cells, and the environment that will proliferate these cells. That's why 50% plus of the breast cancer happens here. This is an environment when there's a mutation around here. They have a better chance to proliferate right here because it's a huge deficient area, right? So that's Chinese medicine, honestly. When we understand channels, okay, understand blockages, and the blockages and all the association of these blockages based on all this, okay, it's mind-boggling of what we can do. Yes, please.
You say it happens like lung 1, lung 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's due to posture and breathing, or?
Due to insufficient, okay, so if we can put, so we know there are 2 circulation systems, right? There's a blood circulation system and there's a lymph circulation system. This is Western medicine, right? Chinese medicine's gift is we can add channels into the third, actually the leading circulation system, right? Because she leads blood and leads whatever, right? So when there's a blockage, liver qi stagnation, right? There's infinite. So this is why treating liver qi stagnation, do not use liver 3. Because when you read the pulse, yes, liver is tight, right? Liver is in excess, right? But it's a false excess. Because if you read the lung pulse, lung is deficient. When there's a river comes in and it's supposed to go to the next river and it gets blocked here, yes, there's a flood here. Absolutely. But there's a drought here. Okay? I have patients that are treated by doctors from this facility, okay? Liver 3, liver 3, liver 3, liver 3, liver 3, every week for 9 months. Develop severe coughing and phlegm that he couldn't stop. He's a manager in a company, and every time he has a meeting, he's going, couldn't stop it. And then come back. And he talked to me and said, did you, he said, yeah, liver 3, yes. 9 months. I said, right? I said, first you stop this, then you improve your posture, right? And then so this is how we clear the lung, okay? His lung is so deficient. Can you imagine that? Okay, 9 months every time. So liver channel, liver 3 is to drain liver. Okay, it's just pure and simple. Okay, and then people say, oh, these points are by due purpose. Okay, it can tonify or it can drain or something like that, right? And I say, what's your intention when you do this point? And they normally just stop because they can't tell me. Okay, if they say drain, why do you want to drain your liver qi? And they can't say tonify because obviously so they can't. I mean, so there's so many of these things in Chinese medicine. Please be critical. Be very, very critical. Okay, as if your life depends on it. Because honestly, it's our life. Okay, because only when we fully experience Chinese medicine can we be reasonable practitioners. We cannot say, okay, I learned this, so I'm going to needle you. One day that's going to be our parents, one day that's going to be our kids. Okay, so I'm very, very critical of what I learned, what I do, what I don't do, what I don't feel comfortable doing. I'm very, very critical on that. Okay. But anyway, okay.
Good question on that.
Yes.
You can't needle pericardium 1.
Right?
I
I don't use needles, okay, unless they are scars. Okay, because I don't feel. Because honestly, anyway, all my patients, including cancer patients, okay, I don't needle them until there's a reason to needle. Needles is not the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I often just hold the person. Right? I will ask them to do things because my goal is not to retain anybody. My goal is to empower. Mm-hmm. Okay? When a person is empowered, there we go. Okay? To me, 2 sessions, 3 sessions, if the person is really, really want to change, they will actually have tremendous change. My cancer group, in 4 weeks, they're dramatically different. All their postures are different, their outlooks are different, their connections are different, their view of their own body is different. I don't get emotional when with people's trauma or pain, but I get moved when people are changing. Okay, so this one lady, she's like, you know what? Last night was the first night I actually washed my, her cancer surgery site. And it was actually kind of filthy, And then she started to honor her body, right? Start to get back into her body. Right? And to me, that's my reward. Okay? To me, that's yes.
So when you're talking about the breathe, so how about if you couldn't use the nose to breathe?
Beautiful. Okay. So if we couldn't use the nose, right? So everything is stuck here.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does it mean? Okay. Normally, okay. So we have sinuses here, right? So we can't breathe because the sinus are full, right? The sinus is actually hugely connected to our UV channel. The UV channel, if it doesn't go all the way down to our toes, okay, you're not going to have a good sinus. Okay, your sinus will be blocked. Okay, so go home and try this. Okay, eyes level. Okay, go into the bathroom. Okay, ideally if you have multiple bathrooms, that'll be good. Okay, otherwise people are knocked over. What the? Right? And just honestly look into your own eyes. Right, run in place, just like this. Imagine your UV channel is actually going down as if you're in a shower. Okay, set your timer for 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, work all the way up to 12. Okay, do this for a month and see how your allergy, sinus, okay, the so-called Wei Qi, everything else, and see how that goes. To me, it's really simple. Chinese medicine is dramatically simple. When you understand channels and you want to encourage the channel from going that way, right? Then you have certain movements where you are actually aligned properly because you're running in place and you're looking into your own eyes, not looking down. If you look down, the UV is not going down. Okay, can you see? You can see, right? If I'm doing this, my channels are not going well, right? We don't need to be able to feel. We can look and say, but that doesn't look right, right? But if my eyes are level, right? And I'm doing this, and I'm imagining my UV channel going down, and my Du channel actually flows through my midbrain, and I'm connecting to loving kindness, right? And I'm connecting to the people I love. And I do this for 6 minutes.
Okay.
I guarantee you,
Try.
you will change. Okay?
Yeah, I use meditation to like 4 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It works temporary, but
Do this,
Can
okay?
just again.
Because what you want to do is you want to get your body into this, okay? So we talk about, so I actually don't advise people to do meditation or other things. Integrate things into your body, okay? Because what you want to do is to get things from your conscious level to your subconscious level, okay? You want your body to learn, this is so freaking comfortable. That's what you want. So when you sit down and you're doing this, it's just, no, I'm not going to do this. Okay? This takes time. That's where cultivation is. So when we talk about cultivation, that is cultivation. Cultivation is to get everything into our subconscious. So we don't have to worry about it. Okay? If I'm sitting here, right, and all of a sudden I'm doing this, it's just yucky. Okay? Interesting, right? So I honestly, like, people come in, okay, there's one veteran guy downstairs, he was here for like 2-3 years or something like that, right? Come here and say, and it was like right here, I can still remember him, you know, looking at the door and say, what can we do here? You know, what can we do together? And he said, I'm here for some help, I need some help. I said, you're in the wrong place, there's no help here, right? But if you want to change yourself, come on in, right? He came in. He took the elevator the first time he got here, okay? All we do was this, okay? We have a ballet bar over there, right? I got this mirror. We set it up and get him to look into his own eyes, hands here, right? And start to walk like that, okay? And look at his shoulder. His shoulder first coming in was like this. I think it was like this because he actually has a, what's this muscle called? Anyway, so one of the muscle is psoas. Yes, thank you. His psoas is tight. Okay, so and because his knee is in trouble, right? He has a lot of pain right around here, right? So when he walks in, he was like this, right? Because this is tight. Right? So when he starts to do this, right? And I actually set a timer for 6 minutes, right? And I say every time you do this, look into your eyes, right? Adjust your shoulders, right? You know, feel your balance, right? Feel your shoulder tightness and everything else. 5 minutes, 6 minutes later, he is totally different. You say, oh my gosh, I can be like this comfortable, right? And the next week he came in, he took the stairs. Okay, he was downstairs in the veteran clinic for at least 2 years, every week. Okay. So this is my approach. I say, if you can come up here, if you can walk over here, we can change. posture, but we need to experience it first. Okay, so congratulations that you have this sinus condition. Because honestly,
Yeah.
when you try, okay, not through needles, not through formulas, right, not through herbs, right, and you truly try, right, from a channel standpoint, this is a suggestion. You may discover way more than this because you have this condition, right? When you practice this, you know exactly what to do. And this firsthand experience is going to propagate into everything else that you do. So all of a sudden, we are not a doctor in the clinic. Okay. We are walking every day, all the time, because we'll be observing, we'll be feeling, we'll be just doing incredible amount of things for everything that we perceive. Right? The word doctor means change. Right? So when we can change ourselves, we are true doctors. Okay? Let me give you an example of what my craziness. Okay. So let me pass this around. You may not need it, okay, but I just want to show this, okay? So I was treating cancer patients, right? Metastasize or whatever, right? Or C-sections, okay? And you have scars, right? And I was like, you can't use these, big things and try that and all these things, or the balls or the sticks or whatever, right? And because after we needle this, so channels are like rivers, okay? Scars are, and channels are electrical in nature. Scars are higher resistance, they're keloid tissues, okay? So channel have trouble, passing through them. So the way, that's why I use needles, because when we poke holes, essentially we're poking a hole in the dam, right? And ideally, the natural flow of the channel is going to break that dam. But in order to help it, I need something to, roll the scars. So this is what in the clinic, I was like, I want to be able to roll the scar, but there's no products. So I actually made this. The wheel are shower door rollers. Okay? The stick is a marshmallow stick. Okay? The way I attach them, and you see a little, blue thing in between. That's a rubber band. That's a piece of a rubber band. Okay. I show you this to demonstrate what medicine is to me. Okay. I need solutions. I need to figure out how to address certain things. Okay. And that there's a lot of stupid things to try to come up with solutions, right? And when I come up with this, I'm genuinely, it's extremely rewarding, okay? And later on, you know what this was become so useful? Okay. For people who have trigeminal issues, Bell's palsy, okay? And you find out like right around this area, along the eyebrows, extreme amount of pain, okay? Some people have these eyebrows tattoos and, whatever tattoos or something like that. This becomes so useful and powerful, okay? And you can use these to roll your sinus, okay? There's, we have, so in this clinic we use pain. Pain is actually happiness, okay? Because when we know that, oh my gosh, so much pain, right? It's a discovery. Okay.
It's a location that you can focus on.
Exactly, because otherwise there's a huge amount of dissociation, right? When we don't know there's a pain in that area, the brain doesn't know what to do. Okay. It's like the general doesn't know where the rider is. There is no way to send, or where do I send the troop? So they start to send the troop everywhere, right? But the pain site. Fibromyalgia is a perfect example. Okay. autoimmune systems are perfect example of these things. Okay, so in this clinic, that's why I build stories. Okay, we need a story. We need a model to fit a person's life stories. Fibromyalgia patients, at least for all my fibromyalgia patients, they have trauma when they're young. They have abuse when they're young. Okay, they have a huge amount of dissociation from their own body. Right? Is there any wonder they have, pains and stuff, stuff like that? No wonder. Right?
Is that the same with like MS and lupus?
That I don't know because I don't have that patience, but I will imagine very, very similar stuff. Okay. So I do things based on channels, right? And
That's really clever.
Well,
Very clever. I like it.
so it's yeah.
But lighter than like the other.
Yes. So this you can actually use a lot of force, right? For example, people with, I actually have a patient with gunshots, okay? Like a gunshot wound on the hand. You can actually apply a lot of pressure on this, right? So all these, no, I see what you mean, okay?
Oh, go ahead. Did you have I have another question.
Yes.
You were talking about congestion, so I've had that for a long time as well, and it gets really bad at night. So when I'm trying to sleep, what do you
do?
recommend
5 minutes before you sleep.
Do 5 minutes of the
Honestly, it's really that, and do 5 minutes when you wake up.
but not outside running.
No, just inside. To me, everything starts. Because I live near a trail, and I see people running. I'm always like, can you run in place first before you run outside? Because when people run outside, they have a destination, and they're like, do whatever they're running. Okay, they're not. So there's a difference between health and performance. Okay, so when we truly want our health, find a mirror, eyes level, right? Feel the sense of balance, right? And then do the movements. If you can run in place, run in place, right? If you can, walk in place, walk in place, right? And that's it, right? Because you want to establish a feedback system within your body. So this is how I'm feeling. Nah, I'm just heavier on my right side. Every time I go right, I go heavier. How can I adjust that, right? Then people start to use these feedback systems to get their body to be more and more balanced. Very, very interesting. Okay, so I tend to slow everything down. Okay, I do martial art too, right? So when I have the opportunity to share, right, I always say, don't do fast. Okay, don't try to hit people like that, right? Do slow and feel where is how you try. It's like, what is the track for your movement? What is the track? How are you moving? When the punch goes out, do you feel just as balanced? It's the same thing as Tui Na. Okay? So Tui Na, we don't go like, it's like this, right? No, this is So when you do Tui Na, you do it slow, so you can feel it. The other person can feel the complete sensation. And it becomes very, very important. Okay.
And the mirror is important because then you can see, you get the
Eyes
instant
level.
feedback, and your eyes stay level.
Okay, eyes level is so important. Okay, even when we're here with the mirror, right? And I say eyes level, and you run in place or walk in place, it's like this. Oh, eyes level. Oh, okay. Oh, eyes level. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Right. So in the beginning, I would suggest not only your eyes level. Okay, at home you use a marker or use a Band-Aid or something. Okay, mark something that you always look at. Okay. Because when your eyes are level, okay, your body. So let me talk about posture a little bit. Okay, so the posture to me starts with the feet, okay, flat on the ground. Okay, and the key is, our body weight are evenly distributed along 2 feet. Okay, then our knees needs to be unlocked. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, So you can see when your patients come in, okay, and they're nervous and they're this and this, right? They have knee pain. Their knees are locked, okay? When they stand, they go like this, okay? When you stand like this, your back has to be tight, okay? This has to be tight, guaranteed. And if you stand sideways and this knee is locked, man, it's guaranteed problem. It's very simple, okay? So the way we do this is to say, okay, you feel your body weight is evenly distributed among both feet, right? And you either squeeze your butt or tilt your pelvis backwards, okay, to unlock the knees, okay? Then your rim one is, then we start to build a bucket, okay? Feel your rim one is actually the bottom of a bucket, okay? Your entire pelvis is the lower half of the bucket, and your entire core, okay? These muscles or whatever, right, the side and the back are the upper part of your bucket, okay? The upper part of your bucket needs to be consistent, okay? When we lock our knees, the back of the bucket is tight. The front is loose, okay? The bucket is not consistently throughout, okay? But when we build a good bucket, our entire upper body, from the rib cage to the shoulders to the head and everything else, can just go, just put it on. This is when we are relaxed, okay? And then when we walk, we move the bucket, okay? We're not eyes down, so the bucket is tilted, and we are actually leaking water all day, okay? It's like, hey, you have a trail of water, okay? So move your bucket even. This to me is critical when we do train-on, okay? So train-on to me is actually the ultimate cultivation. Okay?
Is that offered this next semester or not?
No.
I actually apply in both places, okay? In Santa Cruz and in here, okay?
To teach
And I
it?
submitted the all the signatures too.
All right.
And
Yeah.
And they
Okay,
didn't do a class?
I didn't hear back.
Yeah, I think anyway.
Let's see if we can change that.
So we can try that too? We can
Jensen
just
can
email
talk
and
to
ask
Gina.
for that class?
You can absolutely ask, but I don't know if they're gonna approve it because I don't know how this thing operates. I've been applying for classes for the last.
Or just curious, by Toina, do you mean like regular Toina or your Toina class?
So when I teach Toina, I will teach the so-called regular Toina, and I will say don't use it. Okay, these are things that you should not use. You should not use your thumb to go like this. Okay, because you're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna hurt the other person. The other person will never see you again. Do you want somebody to really do this to you? No. Right. So the way I teach Toina is about balance, about my comfort when I'm doing this, because if I'm comfortable, the person's gonna feel comfortable. And we try this so many times. Okay, it's like I'm holding a hand, and I'm balancing myself. Okay, so I can hold that hand and see how the other person feels. Right. Then I back off a little bit, and I'm doing this. The person immediately feels different. Okay. So when I'm not balanced, my entire structure, my muscles are tense. You know, my channels are not the same. Okay. Yeah.
Is there a class you could offer like this one?
Honestly, I want to, but I've been applying.
But like a private class? Like
Yes, I would love to. If there's any interest.
a donation class where we donate?
Yeah, however you want to do it, I'll be more than honored to do it because this is my passion.
Okay, I would sign up if anybody else
Yeah.
is.
I really want
The
to.
donation would be more beneficial for you than the school paying. But if you want to go to school, I just helped Dr. Mom do her abdominal, and I had to go through Jessie, and I had to have 8 people sign up, and then we got abdominal acupuncture. So she has
I was
Chinese.
rejected.
Yeah,
I was rejected.
Yeah, I was rejected.
for the abdominal acupuncture.
For the like a Sunday weekends
Or
one.
you need to be in
Yeah, you had to be
internship.
an internship.
Oh,
Because I'm
I'm in
intern
internship.
round.
Oh,
So I've been applying for externship, never get a reply. probably wrote like 10
I'd love
emails.
to externship with you. Yeah, I'd love to externship with you.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to externship?
No,
with
no,
you?
no. I mean, I need school's approval, right?
Oh.
But I just don't get replies.
But you could do it for non-credit.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be happy to do it, just like today.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll be honestly. I'll be.
easier.
I would do it for
This is what
non-credit.
This is to me. This is why I'm doing this. Okay, because to me, Chinese medicine is so much more than what we're taught, and it's so simple. Okay, but it's so. To me, it's like if we are again. I'm not trying to convince anybody. Okay, test me on this. Don't trust me on this. Challenge me on this. Right, and be critical about everything we do. Right, because we gotta feel we gotta build our own truth. That's really the key. Okay, so when we learn these magical points and these magical functions, right, and then we apply it, it's just like how does it work? Why? And it doesn't work or it does work. We don't know why. Right, creates so much anxiety. That to me, honestly. To me, it's like almost all patients have liver sheath stagnation. Probably like 100% of the practitioners have liver sheath stagnation. Okay, because they're not comfortable. When I was going through school, I asked this one simple question. Okay, this teacher was teaching about dual channel, and he said, okay, dual channel does this and it has a diversion to this, and then and then it's just like all of a sudden there's like 12 different combinations of how dual channel flow. And I say, in the clinic, how do we what are we trying to get the dual channel to flow to? What's the path to flow? No answer. I actually dropped that class. I said, you tell me all these are possible because of past texts. Okay, somebody wrote this down, and you collect them all, and there are 12 variations, and you introduce these to us. What if there are 2,000 people wrote this thing? Which one do we do in the clinic? What is the ideal way, or what is the ideal flow for the dual channel? Based on certain conditions. You can add conditions, and I'll be fine with that. But how do we do this? No answer. So what are we going to do in the clinic? Nothing. It's like we learn this, and we won't be able to use it because we don't know which way to go. And to me, there are so many people coming into this field, filled with a sense of purpose, sense of passion, and everything else, right? And you go through this. Are you better today? Your first semester versus your last. Are we better? Right? We gotta be better. We have to be better. If we're not better, the school should just close. Chinese medicine doesn't work. Right? So to me, I think part of the reason why I applied for classes and there was no reply because in one of the staff meetings I say, we're going the wrong way. Okay, we need cultivation. We need people to experience firsthand Chinese medicine, not on other people, but on us. Because they were talking about anyway. So to me, let's, I'll be happy. I'll let me know what to do. Right, I'll make time, and we can experience this. And I do have Wednesday and Friday class. And you're welcome. I mean, I've been having this open clinic for a long time. Anybody is welcome. Okay, welcome to come in as patients, as practitioners, as whatever. I mean, to me, I don't draw that line anyway. Okay,
John, I have a question. Actually, it was like the why I came to Five Branches. I'm always wondering about the body connection with maybe with the spiritual. In Chinese, we will say like a 破魂 dan, like that.
Yeah.
So just like when you talk about the lots of deficiencies here, so does that mean my 魄力, because it relates to the lung, it's not like so strong? So
right.
I mean, how to connect all of this in
Okay.
clinic. It's not academically.
Yeah, yeah. So for ourselves, okay, let's talk about ourselves, not treating other people.
Mhm.
Okay, for ourselves, okay, how do we, in an instant, okay, right away, right, to connect us, to the ground, to heaven, okay? All we gotta do is run one elevation in our body. I have a purpose, okay? For a lot of people, we need to add something else, okay? I have a profanity purpose. Okay, we need to honestly feel that strongly about ourselves. We may be the smallest blade of grass in the giant sequoia tree, but we have a purpose. Okay, a lot of us are like, not so sure. We gotta be absolutely sure. I have a purpose in any time. Okay, not just like, when I get a license. No, right now. Okay, if I'm sitting in front of people with 30, 40, 50 years of experience in Chinese medicine, do I have a purpose? Absolutely. I may be here to learn, to share my own first-hand experience, or make a complete fool out of myself. There's a purpose for that. So this is, to me, is very key, because this is how we can keep our Ren channel and our Du channel flowing. Okay? When the Ren and Du are flowing, it leads all the other channels. It leads all the other channels. When the Ren channel and Du channel, when the Ren and Du are not flowing, this is the posture. You collapse. When you collapse, your lung, you're not going to thrive. So Ren and Du are the two first channels that we need to be mindful of. Okay, and to do it is actually very simple, right? I'm in my body. For a lot of patients, they're not in their body. Okay, people who have gone through sexual abuse, right? Horrible breakups, right? Abortion, right? Miscarriage, right? Traumatic birth, for example, right? They're not in their body, especially this area. Okay, so the very slight elevation of Ren 1 change a lot of stuff. It's like
elevation. You mean.
Okay, so elevation means this. Okay, you have a thought, and it goes like this little. Okay, it's not that much. It's not a muscle movement. Okay, it's not a Kegel. We're not doing a Kegel where we, we're not trying to hold something like this and we can't even walk, right?
Oh, so very slight perineum raise.
Very slight, as slight as you can.
Okay.
So more like an intention.
Beautiful. Yes, it's like I'm fully in my body. I'm fully aware, because that's where Ren and Du comes in. That's why I made that chair. Okay.
Are you feeling your Ren and Du? How's it feel?
My buns are pretty warm. You wanna sit on it?
Okay, so it all starts with that very slight. So not just focus on Ren 1, but slight elevation,
Right.
intentional.
Oh, nice.
Because once you start to do this, there's something, for women, right? There's a sense of prolapse, right? Organs are dropping, right? The uterus and the bladder and all that stuff is dropping, right? Ren 1. It all comes back to Ren 1.
I did that thing you just told us to do over there, and lift it ever so light and connect here with the purpose, and right away I start crying.
Yeah.
Like strong.
Too many of us don't have that connection. We don't trust ourselves. When I almost tear up because you changed. Okay. Part of the thing we do in the clinic is to look into our own eyes, look into our own soul. Okay. A lot of people burst out crying. I never ever look at myself. I'm always critical of myself. I have never ever loved myself. This to me is the essence of Chinese medicine, or any medicine, right? This is the essence of living. If we don't love ourselves, it's ridiculous to live. Right? Thank you so much. Okay, that's yeah.
So that means I love myself?
Yes.
Oh, really?
So when the Ren channel, Ren channel is so critical. Okay, what you just felt is your heart is fully energized. You are back to your emotional self. You're not trying to put up a mask where you're like this or that like that. you want to protect yourself or you want to be somebody else. No, you are fully in touch with yourself. That's the tears. Okay, it's like your heart is like, oh, you're home. Okay. When we are 9, so C-section, for example. Okay, people with C-section. Okay, and I have
two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
two.
got one.
2, 3.
So look, so that's why. Okay, because of the C-section, your dual channel in general are not going through. Okay, and I have people call me like 11 o'clock at night. Say, John, I felt it. I felt it. Right? They said, it's like, yeah, what's going on? It's like she's a great mom. Okay, she knows what to do. Right? She has set schedule, play with the kids. Right? Read to them, and she does everything. Right? But she couldn't feel it. Until we needle through, and she was doing this, and she felt it in her heart, that sense of joy. And she called me. Right? So, Ren channel is real. Channels are real.
Okay, I have that. Do with the kids, but don't feel it. But
Yes.
I didn't have a C-section. I had 4 vaginal births. So what's
So
what's my
So
same thing?
potentially, the sense of, yeah, beautiful, great. So potentially, you need to be strong, right? For example, we can have triggers that suppress our sense of feelings, right? Because feelings, in a lot of areas, is viewed as weak, right? So beautiful, right? So you write it down and say, you know what, right? This is why I need this model. This is not just the physical model, right? Because the body can have a C-section, right? So no C-section. I have absolutely no issue with anything within this channel, right? Physically, I'm fine. How about other parts?
It's interesting, actually. I did have one small scar when I was doing something really embarrassing. I was trying to iron a skirt. When I was wearing it, I was like, I can just iron that. I was like, oops.
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe I'll try the little wheel on that
Try the little
scar.
wheel. Actually, what's interesting is I do not needle a person until the person can do what you just did. Because our thoughts are always stronger than anything else. Okay? Cancer patients can have all kinds of scars, okay? C-section, whatever, you name it, okay? As long as they are in their body by elevating their Ren-1 ever so slightly, I have a purpose right here, right? And they connect to loving kindness, everything goes through.
Wow, that's very powerful.
Everything, okay? Only when the person is willing and ready and actually experience that, then I will actually needle. I do not needle until that is real.
So how do you know?
Because they know. They can tell me, and their breathing will change, right? Their sense of, see, you shift your, this is where, like you said, right, channel can change perspective as well, right? Change how we feel, right? But because then we go back to sleep and it gets blocked again, or we encounter something, or people are not behaving well, right? Then we start to say, life is this and that. Boom, we go back to that state again, right? So to me, let me talk about the first loop. Okay. So let me talk about a little loops. Okay. And I know I have other things to get to. Okay, but I think this is important. Okay. So there's a loop called suffering loop. Okay. Suffering loop goes in here, right? So there's 5 senses. Through our 5 senses plus our thought goes into our brain system, generate emotions, and we'll go directly to our left and right brain, make judgment. Okay, we bypass our heart basically. Okay, this is where injustice, the sense of it's not fair, right? This person take advantage of me all the time. The society, the world is not right and dangerous and right? And then all this gets feedback into the channels, right? Deepen the sense in the body, deepen the sense in the thought, right? And then it will actually continue this entire loop. That's our suffering loop. Okay, that's why people can't sleep at night. Over time, we don't need any external stimulus anymore because the body and the thought will automatically drive that entire loop. This is PTSD. Okay, can't stop it. PTSD. Right? So that's the suffering loop. Okay? The epiphany loop is basically when we have an emotion, we actually honor it. We actually fully embrace it. If I feel anxious, I know, like, oh gosh, I feel so unsafe. Okay? Instead of saying like, okay, I need to do something to distract me, or something, or blame something to say, that's why I'm not feeling safe. No, honor our sense of not safe, right? When we're truly in touch with our triggers, right, we'll say, oh my gosh, I don't feel safe because, let me give you a story, okay? So I got this 84-year-old lady from Italy, okay, came to see her daughter, and they came to my mom's place. And she was laying on the massage table, and she was like, this is nice, very nice, in Italian, okay? Excelente or something like that, okay? And then in my mom's house, the heater came on. Okay, this was last November or something like that. And this old lady opened her eyes like this big, okay? The entire body just visibly shrank, right? And was looking around, what's that noise? What's that sound? Okay? And the daughter said, oh, it's the heater turned on. And she said, it sounds just like the bomber in World War II, which ended 80 years ago. Okay. Can you see how people can suffer? Because she's hypervigilant for 80 years. Okay. In her system, this trigger is always monitoring the next possibility of a bombing. Okay. Isn't that interesting? Right. A lot of us are walking, so when we say, okay, I feel so anxious and I don't know why. Okay, I'm in this place and I hear this, I don't know why. She actually bursts out laughing. That's how we transform a trigger. Okay, because we actually honor her sense of anxiety. Okay. And how many times do we suppress our sense of anxiety as if we're confident? Right? But when we truly embrace all our emotions, we actually, honestly, this is when they talk about this sense of enlightenment or whatever, you have the sense of epiphany. So, oh, that's why. That's why all my life I'm basically playing that exact same script over and over and over again. Okay, so the epiphany loop is honor our emotion, right? Hand it over to our midbrain to say, what's the most empowering thing I can do right now? Not the right thing, okay? Because that's a magical question, okay? What's the most empowering thing I can do right now? Our left and right brain does not understand what empowering means. It doesn't know what now means. The only brain structure that can handle that question is our midbrain. Say, oh, what's most empowering? And now, because it's connected to our heart. Our heart doesn't do the right thing. So my advice to a lot of people is stop doing the right thing. Because you continue to activate this path. Do what's most empowering. Until you have a sense of clarity, then give this clarity to your left and right brain, which is very good at executing a very, very good goal, or any goal, for that matter, right, to accomplish things. So that will be the optimum loop, is to go through our midbrain until we have clarity. And people ask me, what do I do when I have no clarity? Go to bed, okay? Leave it at home, right? So to me, as I got 4 kids, right? So one of the things I can look back and say, what gets me in trouble with all my kids is because I've been trying to do the right thing as a dad. Okay, I didn't do I didn't do at that time what's most empowering at that time, at that very moment. I've been trying to hammer the right thing. Okay, any wonder. So when my kids were small, I often wondered that why are they my kids? You know, and when they get bigger, they're like, why are you my dad? You know. So right now, my cultivation is I'm gonna do what's most empowering right now. In the clinic, in my life. Okay. So in the clinic, people will say, "Can we do what we did last time?" It's like, what did we do last time? Right? It's not. I can't repeat it because you're different, and everything is different now. We do what's most important, empowering right now. This activates our midbrain to no end. Okay, if we continue to ask that question on a daily basis, we're going to change our entire brain structure. We're going to change. This is plasticity, right? Brain is plastic. It changes. We're going to change how this circuit runs. It will not go, oh, emotion, boom, left and right brain, judgment. Emotion, boom, judgment. It will stop that. It will actually go emotion, embrace it, understand, ever so tenderly, right? Fully embrace, truly love ourselves. What's the most important thing we can do right now? The midbrain takes charge, right? Our heart is engaged. This ren channel and du channels are engaged, right? We have wait until clarity. Wait. It's okay to wait. We don't need an answer right now. It's okay to don't know. Okay? We're so brought up to know. How can you not know the answer? I don't know. It honestly is the most profound answer in life. I don't know, and I'm still comfortable. That means okay, so somebody asked me this question, okay, and it's like, I was in technology before. They would say, okay, John, I got this thing, and I have to interview people, right? What do you think is the highest quality I should seek out? I said, one of the good quality is the person is comfortable with, I don't know. Okay? When a person is comfortable with, I don't know, it's very easy to work with the people like that. Because they're gonna try to, they're gonna understand to a degree before they will say they know, rather than, oh, I know, where they actually don't know. Because they have a fear or uncomfortable, they're uncomfortable with, I don't know. Okay? I don't know to me, is a root cause for anxiety. We need to know, right? But how can you know about life?
Ask you a quick question.
Yes.
Did you say where did you put consciousness, subconsciousness?
Right.
What did you call that one?
So to me, midbrain sits in between conscious and subconscious. So when we ask the question, what's the most important thing to do right now? The midbrain, in my opinion, okay, and again, this is a functional model for me, actually goes down into the subconscious. All this thing, okay? This is how we start to begin to harmonize within ourselves. Because let's say we have a problem, right? Let's say we are presented with whatever case. Somebody comes in and have or kids having a tantrum or whatever, right? Or we don't know what to do at that point. Or I heard this, somebody text me and say, John, you know what? I got 2 weeks to live. Do I know what to do at that point? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I actually I did receive a text like that in the middle of my walking on the street. And I look at it, it's like, what's the most important thing I can do right now? I literally stop on my, stop walking and I look at the sky. What's the most important thing I can do right now? And like 5-10 seconds later, I just have this sense that hold his hand. Okay? Then I go, okay, I want to hold your hand. When are you available? But I don't get a reply in 24 hours. I know where you live. Okay? And I literally went to his house, hold his hand. Okay? And I remember we're sitting on the sofa, and we're doing exactly the same thing. Run one, I have a purpose, connect to loving kindness, and through loving kindness, connect to everybody he cares about. Okay? And the people he doesn't care about. Okay? But I literally hold him for about an hour. And when I left, that was a Tuesday around 11 o'clock, or around noontime maybe. And I told him, it's like, okay, I'm gonna come back, okay, on Thursday, Saturday. Okay, so I'll be with you Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 11 o'clock in the morning. Okay, I'll come back. I don't care what your condition is. You can be totally unconscious, right? I'll be there. So I went back Thursday, 11 o'clock. I knock on the door. His wife opened the door. He said, he passed away yesterday afternoon. In that couch, while his wife and his son were talking to an in-home nurse, like right there. Passed away without a sound. And I remember I was smiling so joyfully, and I don't think his wife took that very well, but because I know he went without pain. He was okay with his passing. So to me, unconditional love, okay, the sense that we can connect, okay, this connection goes across space and time. So you want to ask me about Wen and Po or all these so-called spiritual things in Chinese medicine, this is how I do it. And it's very simple. Okay? We don't need teachers, we know. You know, to me, a lot of things are just so built in. Okay? We don't send our kids to a school to learn to walk, right? To turn heads, you know, to crawl, right? Why? Because they don't have a sense of comparison yet. So they will always do what's most empowering. Okay? Can you imagine a little kid having the same sense of comparison as we have right now? Nobody will be able to walk at all in this planet because they will look, gosh, you know, and my head is so big, my body is so small, there's no way I can walk.
Or even hold the head up.
Exactly.
Right.
So to me, there's a lot of things that if we look at how thriving works, how doing what's most empowering now works, we can learn a lot from it. Yeah. So I'm not saying we should abandon everything. I'm just saying that when we use our entire faculty, right, you know, especially our heart, okay, because heart is often talked about, but seldom connected well. Okay, if you're kind in school, you're just, you know, it doesn't count as anything. Okay, can you be a Chinese medicine doctor without a license? Absolutely. Right, but we need this. Right, we need a license to practice. Right, but what I truly believe is we not only do we need a license, we also need to have connection to this. Not for the benefit of our patients, but for us. Okay.
Can I, when I see those, I wonder if the one you have on top is almost a hyper-conscious state, like above, like if the midbrain is conscious, if the limbic is sub, and the reptilian is unconsciousness.
So to me, I don't.
Doesn't matter.
I heard these terms like super this and that, or it's like lower that.
It
like,
doesn't really matter.
Do we really need to make that complicated?
Well, it's just that I really like how you pull out the midbrain heart connection as the place. I almost feel like I missed that. I skipped that entirely, right? I go straight to the top. And you really helped me see with this model that that's almost it's an overreach,
yes.
Right? And at that point, it's beyond just, and that's why I think I never feel really conscious. I don't feel conscious. I feel either hyper conscious or like just acting in
just do
subconscious.
Yeah.
But you really pull that out in the middle there that I think I've skipped, and probably because of liberty stagnation and can't reach the.
When we connect this, you just feel solid.
Yeah, no, that's really, really powerful and very helpful as a model. So thank you.
And when you do this, and you're not, you know, that's a common thing, right? It's like we see a patient, what do? I need to do something. I need to do something, right? When you connect this way and you connect to the person's particle, you have absolutely no issue.
You've already done something. You've already done it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You going as a lighthouse. That is really the key.
Yeah.
Right? And when you are a lighthouse, your channels are running well, right? Everybody wants that channel. So, so I think I covered most what I want to cover. Okay, so question everything. Okay, so build your own model, right? This is what I really, really want to express, right? Again, don't trust me, right? Build your own model, right? Be critical of what you do, right? And go from there.
I need to eat something. Can I stand
Okay.
right up there?
Yeah. Let's take a little break and then we.
If anyone's cold, that chair is amazing. I was cold before and now I'm warm.
Come back.
Yes. So I will. Yes, I will do this and I will
Oh,
share a link. Okay.
nice.